What if the finish line you are desperately running toward is an illusion? Have you ever noticed how, the harder you work to finally be done, the further away the end seems to get? You tell yourself a very convincing story. I will rest when everything is finished. I will finally relax when the house is clean, when the work is submitted, when everyone else is taken care of, when the dust finally settles. If you have ever felt emotionally exhausted, endlessly anxious, or as though you are constantly falling behind in your own life, this is for you. Stay until the end, because the final lesson may change the way you see this pain forever. You push through the fatigue. You ignore the heavy ache in your shoulders and the quiet, desperate exhaustion in your mind. You treat your own rest as a luxury that must be earned, a prize waiting at the very bottom of a never-ending list. You believe that if you just push a little harder, sacrifice a little more time, and give a little more of your energy, you will finally arrive at that quiet, empty space where you are allowed to stop. But here is the truth few people want to face. The list never ends, the demands never stop, and the future peace you are waiting for never actually arrives. Buddhist wisdom teaches us about the illusion of completion. We are conditioned to believe that peace exists only in a perfect tomorrow, in a flawless moment, when all conditions are met and all tasks are perfectly resolved. But Buddhism reminds us that clinging to this idea of a completely finished life is a deep source of suffering. Life, by its very nature, is a state of continuous becoming. It is always moving. It is always shifting. It is never completely still, and it is never entirely resolved. Imagine a person standing on the shore of a vast, turbulent ocean, holding a small cup. They look at the crashing waves and make a silent vow. I will finally sit down and rest when I have emptied this ocean. So they scoop and they pour, they scoop and they pour. The sun rises and sets, their arms grow unimaginably heavy, their spirit begins to break. They look at their extreme fatigue and believe it is a sign that they are simply not working fast enough. They think their tiredness is a personal failure. But the problem is not their effort. The problem is the ocean. We do this every single day. We look at our daily responsibilities, our careers, our families, the endless stream of expectations in modern life, and we try to empty the ocean. We feel a deep, heavy guilt when we sit down, while there are still dishes in the sink, messages unread, or problems unsolved. We feel as though we have not earned the right to simply exist. We mistake our natural human limits for laziness. Think about your own life. What are you waiting to finish before you allow yourself to breathe? What are you afraid will happen if you simply let the work remain undone for just one night? Pause, breathe, observe the heavy, pulling thought that tells you to do just one more thing. Watch that thought rise, but do not follow it. You do not have to empty the ocean today. Rest is not a reward for flawless productivity. It is a necessary part of being alive, because peace is not something you chase down at the end of a long day. It is something you make space for in the middle of the mess. But letting go of this need to finish everything is only the first step. When you have spent your whole life treating rest as a prize, stopping can feel incredibly uncomfortable. And this is where the next truth begins. Because beneath your refusal to rest is a profound misunderstanding of what your exhaustion is actually trying to tell you. 2. Exhaustion is not a weakness. What if the very thing you are fighting against is the only thing trying to protect you? Here is the truth that is hard to accept when you are used to running on empty. Your exhaustion is not a sign of failure. It is not a reflection of your worth, your dedication, or your strength. But we treat it as an enemy. We have been conditioned to view tiredness as a character flaw. When our energy fades, we feel a quiet, lingering shame. We look around and believe that everyone else is managing perfectly, that everyone else is keeping up, and that our fatigue is proof that we are simply not good enough. So, we mask it. We force a smile. We pour another cup of coffee. We push through the heavy fog in our minds and the deep ache in our bones, terrified that if we admit how tired we really are, everything will fall apart. We view our own biological limits as a personal defeat. Buddhism reminds us of the profound practice of mindful listening. This does not just mean listening to the world around us. It means deeply listening to the truth of our own present state. In Buddhist wisdom, pushing away the reality of the present moment creates suffering. When you are exhausted, the reality is your fatigue. By denying it, fighting it, and judging it, you multiply your own pain. You suffer the exhaustion, and then you suffer the guilt of being exhausted. Imagine a fire burning brightly in a quiet room. It provides warmth and light to everything around it, but eventually the wood burns down to ash. The flame begins to flicker. It grows small and weak. When the fire dims, we do not stand over it and yell at it to burn brighter. We do not call the fire lazy. We do not punish it for fading. We understand, instantly and without judgment, that the fire simply needs more wood. It needs fuel. It needs time to rebuild its strength. Yet, we deny ourselves this simple, undeniable truth. In our modern lives, we expect ourselves to burn constantly without ever stopping for fuel. We carry the heavy expectations of our jobs, answering messages late into the night. We carry the emotional weight of our relationships, constantly giving our energy to ensure everyone else is happy and comfortable. We scroll through social media, absorbing the impossible standards of endless productivity, and we wonder why our own flames are dying out. We forget that we are entirely human. Think about your own life. When a dear friend comes to you, completely burned out and overwhelmed, what do you tell them? You tell them to rest. You give them grace. Ask yourself, why do you so easily offer compassion to others, but punish yourself for the exact same feeling? Pause, breathe, drop the judgment you are holding against your own heavy eyes. The next time you feel completely drained, do not criticize the feeling. Treat it as information. Your body and mind are simply communicating a profound truth. The fire needs fuel. Listen to the messenger. You are not powerless, and you are not failing. You are simply empty, and it is entirely okay to be empty for a while. But recognizing your exhaustion is only the beginning. The real challenge is understanding why you push yourself so hard in the first place, and why you feel so responsible for holding up the sky. And this is where the next truth begins. Because beneath the exhaustion is a mountain of expectations you were never meant to carry. 3. The weight of imagined demands. What if the heaviest burdens you carry were never actually placed on your shoulders? Have you ever noticed how much of your exhaustion comes not from what you are actually doing, but from what you believe you must do? We live our lives carrying an invisible, heavy weight. Every time we worry about someone else's mood, we take on a burden. Every time we try to control a future outcome, we add another. We feel a false sense of duty to fix everything. We say yes when our bodies are screaming no, simply because we cannot bear the quiet guilt of disappointing someone. We convince ourselves that if we step back, even for a moment, everything around us will collapse. Buddhist wisdom teaches us about the trap of over-responsibility, which is simply a disguised form of attachment. We attach ourselves to the idea that we are the sole force holding our lives, our workplaces, and our relationships together. We confuse caring for people with controlling their reality. Buddhism reminds us that we suffer not because of the genuine demands placed upon us, but because of our rigid clinging to the belief that we must answer every single one. True non-attachment means caring deeply, but knowing exactly where your power ends. Imagine a person standing inside a vast, ancient temple. They have their arms raised high above their head, pressing their hands frantically against the massive wooden ceiling. Their muscles are trembling. They are completely exhausted, terrified that if they lower their arms for even a second, the entire roof will crash down upon them. They stay like this for years, missing the sunlight, missing the world outside, simply surviving to hold up the ceiling. But what they do not realize is that the roof is already supported by giant, ancient stone pillars. The temple does not need them to hold it. They are suffering for an illusion. We do this every single day. We try to hold up the ceiling. We overfunction in our careers, terrified that one forgotten task will ruin our future. We tiptoe around our families, constantly trying to manage everyone's emotions to keep the peace. We spend massive amounts of our own life energy trying to prevent things from falling apart, convinced that our constant anxiety is the only thing keeping us safe. We carry the crushing weight of imagined demands, completely blind to the stone pillars already holding the roof. Think about your own life. Ask yourself, what invisible ceiling are you trying to hold up right now? What are you so deeply afraid will happen if you finally lower your arms? Pause, breathe. You do not have to hold it all together. Do your part, then release the outcome. Let the world turn without your constant supervision. Let other people carry their own weight. Step back and watch how the sky does not fall just because you took a moment to rest. Because peace is not found by perfectly managing the universe, it is found by realizing you were never meant to. Lowering your arms takes immense courage. But when you finally stop trying to hold up the sky, you will notice a sudden, quiet stillness. And this is where the next truth begins. Because the space between doing and resting is a space most of us have forgotten how to live in. 4. The pause between the breaths. What if the most important part of your life is the space where absolutely nothing is happening? Have you ever noticed how terrifying stillness has become? We live in a world obsessed with constant motion. If we are not moving, producing, or achieving, we feel an immediate sinking anxiety that we are falling behind. Even when we finally have a free moment, a quiet evening, or a slow morning, we instinctively rush to fill it. We reach for our phones, we turn on a screen, we find a new problem to worry about. We have completely forgotten how to simply exist in the quiet. We view the space between our tasks as an empty void that must be filled rather than a sacred moment of rest to be savored. We treat doing nothing as a crime against our own potential. But Buddhist wisdom teaches us the profound value of the pause. In the practice of mindful breathing, the focus is not just on the deep inhale or the long exhale. The true center of the practice is the tiny, infinite space and of quiet that exists right between them. Buddhism reminds us that emptiness is not a negative thing. It is not a lack of substance. It is the open space that allows everything else to exist. Without the pause, there is no rhythm. Without stillness, there is no clarity. Imagine a beautiful, moving piece of music. If the musician played every single note constantly, rushing from one sound to the next without a single break, it would not be music. It would just be a chaotic, overwhelming wall of noise. The beauty, the deep emotion, and the melody are entirely created by the silence between the notes. The rests are just as important as the sounds. We treat our modern lives exactly like that wall of noise. We wake up and immediately rush into the demands of the day. We fill our commutes with information, our evenings with chores, and our weekends with endless obligations. We are terrified of the silence between the notes because we are secretly afraid of what we might feel if we finally stop moving. We drown out our own exhaustion, our own doubts, and our own inner voice with the loud drumbeat of constant busyness. Think about your own life. When was the last time you sat quietly in a room and simply did nothing? Not waiting for a meeting, not looking at a screen, not planning tomorrow, but just sitting. Ask yourself, what makes you so deeply uncomfortable about the quiet? What are you running from when you refuse to sit still? Pause, breathe, Notice the tiny moment of stillness at the very top of your breath before you exhale. Let that small silence exist. You do not need to fill every empty moment of your day with motion. Allow yourself the grace of a pause. Let the quiet rise without fighting it, because peace is not found by packing more achievements into your hours. It is found by allowing the silence to return to your song. But making space for this silence requires us to lay down a very specific, heavy identity we have built for ourselves. And this is where the next truth begins, because sitting still means you must finally stop trying to save everyone else. What if the hardest thing you ever have to do is let someone else face their own storm? Here is a truth that goes against everything we are taught about love and duty. You cannot save people from their own lives, and trying to do so is slowly destroying yours. We take on what we believe is a noble sacrifice. We act as the ultimate caretaker, the fixer, the one who catches everyone else when they fall. We believe that if we just give a little more of our energy, listen to one more complaint, or solve one more crisis, the people we love will finally be happy, and then we will be allowed to rest. We equate our total exhaustion with our moral goodness. We think that being completely drained means we are a good friend, a good partner, or a good parent. Buddhist wisdom teaches a beautiful but difficult lesson about compassion. In Buddhist thought, true compassion is not about absorbing the suffering of others until you break. That is a form of attachment, an attachment to being the savior. We mistakenly believe we have the power and the right to control another person's journey. Buddhism reminds us that every individual has their own path to walk, their own lessons to learn, and their own weight to carry. You can offer love, but you cannot carry their heavy burdens for them. Imagine a magnificent, ancient tree standing at the edge of a great forest. When a massive storm rolls in, the tree offers its thick branches as shelter. Little birds and weary travelers gather beneath its leaves to escape the driving rain. But the tree does not uproot itself to chase away the storm. It does not bend in half, trying to stretch its branches to cover the entire forest. It does not try to command the wind to stop blowing. It simply stands rooted, deeply grounded, offering what it naturally can while allowing the storm to run its course. We forget how to be the tree. In our modern relationships, we try to stop the rain. We see a family member struggling, and we immediately jump in to fix it, spending our own precious energy agonizing over their choices. We cover for people at work, absorbing their mistakes, so the project does not fail. We say yes to endless requests, completely ignoring the desperate exhaustion in our own minds because we are terrified of the guilt of saying no. We carry the hero's burden, walking around completely hollowed out, believing that our quiet suffering is the price we must pay to be valued. Think about your own life. Whose heavy baggage are you carrying right now? What situation are you desperately trying to fix that does not actually belong to you? Pause. Breathe. You can love someone deeply without taking on their pain as your own. Drop the heavy armor of the hero. Let them walk their own path. Offer shelter when they come to you, but do not try to stop the rain. Because true peace is not found by saving the entire world at the expense of your own spirit. It is found when you realize your quiet presence is already enough. But stepping back from this role forces you to confront something profound that you have been ignoring for a long time. And this is where the next truth begins. Because when you stop carrying the weight of the world, you finally have to listen to what your own physical form has been silently screaming. 6. The body as a wise teacher. What if the physical exhaustion you are trying to push away is actually the deepest wisdom you possess? Here is the truth we rarely admit. We treat our bodies like heavy luggage we are forced to drag through our daily lives. When the shoulders ache, when the chest feels tight, when the mind grows clouded and heavy, we do not see these sensations as vital messages. We see them as inconveniences. We treat our own biological limits as obstacles to conquer. We pour another cup of coffee. We stare blankly at our screens, forcing our burning eyes to stay open just to finish one last task. We live entirely in our heads, treating the physical form as nothing more than a machine designed to produce endless results. And when that machine finally breaks down from sheer exhaustion, we feel angry at it, as if it has betrayed us. Buddhist wisdom teaches a profound practice called mindfulness of the body. In this tradition, the body is not a tool to be exploited, it is the ultimate anchor to the present moment. The mind is constantly time-traveling, worrying about tomorrow, regretting yesterday, fabricating stories about what we must achieve before we are allowed to relax. But the body is always, entirely, in the here and now. The body does not lie. When Buddhist thought speaks of honoring your exhaustion, it means accepting the physical truth of the present moment without trying to aggressively manipulate it. Imagine a small wooden boat moving fiercely through rough water. The wind is howling and the waves are crashing against the hull. The captain is entirely focused on reaching the distant shore, but the wood is groaning. A small crack appears, and water slowly begins to fill the bottom of the boat. Instead of stopping to patch the leak, the captain simply rows harder, furious at the water, commanding the boat to just hold together a little longer. They believe that sheer willpower can outsmart the laws of nature. But a creaking boat is not a lazy boat. It is a boat that is telling the truth about the heavy water. We are the captain, and our bodies are the creaking wood. We sit at our desks with our jaws completely clenched, carrying the stress of our careers in our tight muscles. We ignore the sudden, quiet headaches and the shallow breathing that comes when we are overwhelmed by the pressure to succeed or the fear of falling behind. We run on pure anxiety, ignoring the subtle whispers of our physical form until it is finally forced to scream. We wait for complete burnout or illness to finally give us the permission to rest that we refuse to give ourselves. Think about your own life. Right now, in this very moment, what is your body quietly asking for? If your deep exhaustion could speak, what would it say? Pause, breathe, drop your shoulders away from your ears, unclench your jaw. Feel the physical weight of your own existence right where you are sitting. Do not try to fix the tiredness, just acknowledge it. Treat the heavy, pulling feeling not as a personal failure, but as a wise teacher pointing you toward home. Because peace is not found by conquering your physical limits. It is found by honoring the vessel that carries you through this world. But to truly listen to your body and finally rest, you must face the deep anxiety of leaving things undone. You must look at the work that is not finished and walk away anyway. And this is where the next truth begins. Because the world will never be completely resolved, and waiting for it to be is a trap. 7. Impermanence and the unfinished task. What if the perfect moment you are waiting for, the moment when everything is finally complete, does not actually exist? Here is the quiet trap we fall into every single day. We believe that life is a giant puzzle that can eventually be entirely solved. We tell ourselves that if we just clear out the inbox, fold the last basket of laundry, finish the big project at work, and resolve that one lingering family conflict, we will finally reach a state of permanent order. We look at the unfinished tasks sitting on our desks and in our minds as temporary obstacles blocking our path to happiness. We believe that a completed list equals a successful life. Buddhist wisdom teaches a beautiful, deeply liberating truth known as impermanence. In Buddhist thought, the fundamental nature of the universe is constant change. Nothing is static. Nothing is ever frozen in time. Because everything is constantly shifting, nothing can ever truly be finished. The belief that we can reach a permanent state of completion is a profound illusion. Buddhism reminds us that our suffering does not come from the unfinished tasks themselves, but from our rigid clinging to the impossible idea that life should eventually stop changing. Imagine a monk sweeping the vast, ancient courtyard of a quiet temple. It is autumn. For hours, he carefully sweeps the golden leaves into neat piles, clearing the stone path until it is perfectly clean. He steps back to admire his work. Just as he takes a breath, a gentle wind blows through the branches above, and 3 new leaves detach from the branch, drifting slowly down to rest entirely on the clean stones. The monk does not drop his broom in despair. He does not view his morning of sweeping as a personal failure. He does not yell at the wind. He simply smiles. The falling leaves are not a flaw in his plan. They are the nature of the tree. We forget the nature of the tree. In our modern lives, we treat the falling leaves as a personal insult. We finally catch up on our work, and the moment a new demand appears, we feel a crushing wave of defeat. We get our house perfectly organized, and the moment a mess is made, we feel a deep, burning frustration. We view the natural, ongoing maintenance of human existence as a barrier to our peace, rather than the reality of life itself. We exhaust ourselves trying to permanently sweep a courtyard that exists in a forest. Think about your own life. How much of your precious time have you spent desperately waiting for a finish line that keeps moving? What are you letting sit unfinished right now? And why does it make you feel so anxious? Pause, breathe. Look mentally at the long list of demands you have been carrying. Choose to leave it unfinished today. Let the 3 leaves sit quietly on the stone. You do not have to sweep them up before the sun goes down, because true peace is not found when the last leaf is finally swept away. It is found when you realize the tree will always shed its leaves, and you can put the broom down anyway. But walking away from the unfinished work requires a specific kind of bravery. And this is where the next truth begins, because stepping away from the endless tasks forces you to face the deep fear of simply being enough, exactly as you are. 8. The courage to rest now. What if the most courageous thing you can do today is absolutely nothing? Here is a truth that is terrifying to a mind accustomed to constant motion. We are deeply afraid of stopping. We have convinced ourselves that resting is a sign of weakness, a failure of willpower, or a temporary lapse in our ambition. We believe that if we step off the endless treadmill of tasks, even for a moment, we will lose our momentum forever. We sit down on the couch at the end of a long day, and almost immediately, a quiet, stinging guilt washes over us. We look around at the chores that need doing, the emails that need answering, and we feel a deep shame for choosing stillness. We believe we must earn our right to exist through endless, visible effort. Buddhist wisdom teaches a profound lesson about our true nature. In Buddhist thought, your inherent worth is completely unattached to your productivity. You are not a human doing, you are a human being. The obsessive need to constantly produce, achieve, and manage is a form of clinging to an identity built on external validation. When we tie our entire sense of self to how much we get done, resting feels like a threat to our very existence. Buddhism reminds us that letting go of this false identity takes immense bravery. Imagine a magnificent bird that has lived its entire life inside a small, tightly woven wooden cage. Every single day, the bird flutters its wings frantically, keeping busy, surviving within the strict limits of its tiny world. It believes that this constant, exhausting motion is the only way to live. Then, one quiet morning, the door to the cage is swung completely open. The endless blue sky is right there, but the bird does not leave. It stays on its familiar perch, fluttering its heavy wings, exhausted but terrified. The cage of constant work feels safe, predictable, and known. The open door of rest feels overwhelmingly dangerous. We are that bird, and the open door is our permission to rest. We finally get a weekend off, a cancelled meeting, or a quiet evening, and the door to rest is standing wide open. But instead of flying into the quiet, we invent new chores. We clean things that are already clean. We scroll endlessly on our screens to avoid the silence. We obsess over the future. We feel a deep, burning guilt that we are not being productive, terrified that if we actually stop and face the open sky, we might not know who we are without our exhaustion. We stay in the cage because we are afraid of the quiet. Think about your own life. When was the last time you rested without feeling guilty? Ask yourself, who are you when you are not busy? What are you so deeply afraid will happen if you simply stop moving right now? Pause, breathe, look at the open door. You do not need a completed to-do list to grant you permission to sit down. You do not need to earn your rest. By pushing yourself to the absolute brink of collapse, choose to step out of the cage of endless doing. Let the guilt rise, acknowledge it, and then choose to rest anyway. Because peace is not a reward for flawless productivity. It is a choice you must be brave enough to make in the middle of your perfectly messy life. But choosing to rest is only the final threshold. To truly let go, you must radically shift how you view the life you are leaving paused. And this is where the final truth begins. Because the ultimate freedom comes when you stop fighting the reality of a life that is always, beautifully, incomplete. 9. Peace in the incomplete. What if the greatest relief of your life comes the moment you finally accept that the work will never be done? We began this journey looking at an illusion, the deeply ingrained belief that rest is a prize waiting at the very end of an empty to-do list. We have spent years running toward a finish line that constantly moves, trying to empty a massive ocean with a tiny cup. We have spent our precious energy holding up a ceiling that was already perfectly supported by stone pillars. We have treated our own profound exhaustion as a personal failure, masking our fatigue and punishing ourselves for simply having human limits. We have lived in a state of constant, desperate waiting. Waiting for the weekend. Waiting for the project to end. Waiting for the day when everyone else is finally perfectly okay, so that we might finally be allowed to close our eyes. You have pushed your mind and body to the absolute brink, convinced that your worth was entirely tied to your output. You believed that if you just tried a little harder and sacrificed a little more of your own peace, you would finally earn the right to stop. But here is the final truth. The perfect tomorrow you are sacrificing your present for does not exist. The demands of this world will always be there, but your time and energy are precious and limited. You do not have to wait anymore. Buddhist wisdom gently brings us back to the beautiful reality of the present moment. The teachings of non-attachment and impermanence do not ask us to stop caring about our lives. They do not ask us to abandon our genuine responsibilities or stop loving the people around us. Instead, they ask us to release our exhausting grip on how we think things must be before we are allowed to experience peace. They remind us that a deeply meaningful life is inherently messy, constantly shifting, and forever incomplete. Think about the journey we have walked today. The dying fire in the quiet room does not judge itself. It simply asks for more fuel. The ancient tree stands calmly in the storm, offering shelter without trying to stop the rain. The monk smiles at the autumn leaves falling onto his perfectly swept path, knowing they belong there. The bird steps out of the open wooden cage into the vast blue sky, trusting the wind. All of these are acts of deep, radical surrender. They are moments of looking at the natural, unfinished state of the world and deciding not to fight it anymore. You have fought long enough. You have carried the heavy, imaginary expectations of the world for long enough. Think about your own life right now. Look mentally at the tasks still sitting on your desk. Look at the messages you have not answered, the rooms that are not completely clean, and the problems that are not perfectly solved. For the first time, do not view them as a barrier to your rest. View them as the natural scenery of a life that is simply in motion. Pause. Breathe. You are not falling behind. You are not failing. The heavy exhaustion in your bones is not a sign of weakness. It is a profound, biological request for grace. Listen to it. You are entirely worthy of rest right now, exactly in the middle of your unfinished life. You do not need an empty list to grant you permission to sit down. Stop trying to empty the ocean. Lower your arms. Step out of the cage. The sky will not fall just because you choose to close your eyes. If these lessons touched your heart, share this video with someone who may need a little more peace today. You can let go now.